try. I don't know what that was. Oh, that was the key fob. Key slot not made for G-force. Hey crew, I've got the key to that 24 BMW M3 CS. We are gonna take it for a drive, but first, let's check out how it looks on the inside and outside. Similar to the rear drive track-focused M4 Competition Sport Lightweight, we have this track-focused all-wheel drive M3 Competition Sport. It's not gonna have the same level of exclusivity or weight savings as the CSL, but it does get the same grille insert with these black bars and red pinstriping that I like so much better than the standard M3's grille. It also gets a unique carbon fiber front splitter with these extending winglets. And it has the same yellow daytime running lights as the M5 CS with projector LED headlights and LED turn signals. It also has a carbon fiber hood with these two channels in exposed carbon fiber. This paint job is called Signal Green. I call it Kermit the Frog. At the side, there's a unique set of bronzy gold alloy wheels, 19-inch front, 20-inch rear, wrapped in your choice of Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires, or for no extra cost, Cup 2s, sized 275 section front and 285 at the rear. Within those wheels are M compound brakes with black painted calipers. You can choose carbon ceramics for extra monies. There's carbon fiber for the mirror caps and roof. Looking at the profile, those wheels stand out a lot, but not as much as the paint job. I can get down with a green car, I just prefer a darker hue. At the back is a carbon fiber lip spoiler, slender LED taillights and turn signals, a carbon fiber diffuser portion around the unique to CS titanium quad exhausts. And BMW says if you add up all the carbon fiber, including the interior trim like the center console, then the CS weighs about 75 pounds less than an M3 Competition xDrive with the standard sports seats. I think the look is elevated over a regular M3. I would choose a darker color though, not just because of the Kermit thing, but because the exposed carbon fiber pieces on the hood look like stripes, and I don't think they fit on a car like this. My question for you is whether the CS looks too much like a standard M3 Competition. Let me know in the comments, and let's check out the interior. Opening up and looking inside at this black and red full merino leather interior as standard, with red accents on the headrests, red contrast stitching, red seat perforations for the center. On the doors, it's leather up top, red stitching here, leatherette padding for your armrest, injection molding down low, and a standard Harman Kardon sound system. Stepping in, ooh, so easy to do. Behind my own seat, at 6 feet tall, I've got plenty of knee room behind the standard carbon fiber bucket chairs. These are optionally available on the regular M3. Love the poke holes. Big foot pockets to slide my feet under, so thigh support is decent. And headroom is good. Head clears the roof, if only just barely. And these headrests do pop up for safety. In the center, because this is a carbon fiber tunnel with just this strip of leather on it, there are no air vents or USB ports. You can make it over the drive shaft hump, but here my head is kind of pressed against the roof, so I wouldn't put 3 full-size adults in the second row, at least not for a long time. There is no armrest to come down, you just have a pass-through. Let's check out the front next. Door close noise. Oh, a little more pop to it than I remember from the last M3 I reviewed. Smart keyless entry is for the rear and front doors. The front seats look so darn cool with the pass-throughs for your racing harness, CS illuminated there in the center, the raised side bolsters with hand grips, power adjustments. You've got heating, power adjusting side bolsters. They've got it all, including a carbon fiber hump in the middle that's kind of a pain to get over. Aluminum accented foot pedals. On the front doors, we have the same materials as the back, plus 4 one-touch windows, power adjusting and power folding door mirrors, 2-position memory for the driver's seat. Pull that to pop up the trunk lid. It does take a sec, but it comes all the way up. And inside we've got 13 cubic feet of space. If you need more room, pull on these 2 tabs to fold down the rear seats 60-40. To close the trunk lid, stick your hand inside and feel for the indent that helps you easily lower down the trunk lid. And you will need to also easily lower down into the driver's seat to not suffer a bruised tailbone. Get your leg over the side bolster and get them around the center hump, and then close up the door. Drivers in the CS get a suede-wrapped steering wheel. It's very thick, but nice and squishy in the hands. I like it. With carbon fiber pieces on the face of the wheel, tricolor stitched on the inside, your red M1 and M2 buttons, and carbon fiber faced paddles with plastic texture on the back. There is a single curved display encompassing your digital gauge cluster and your 14.9-inch touchscreen infotainment system, which is really clear and crisp, responsive. It has wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto that does occasionally lag. BMW did move almost all the physical climate inputs into the screen, which does require an extra step or two while driving and can be a little more distracting. They did retain the volume knob, happy for that, with the Seek buttons. There's a wireless charging pad, key slot, and USB-A port. The carbon fiber tunnel looks awesome, as does the leather pad that says CS for you to rest your arm and operate the gear selector in leather. With your drive mode selections to the left, there is a dial to control the infotainment system if you don't want to touch the screen. They kept a little bit of storage here in lieu of a lid that opens with a USB-C port hidden under there. Visibility is quite good, and there's standard blind spot monitoring with rear cross traffic. This cabin isn't all that distinct from a regular M3, but it's still so darn cool with the seats and the console and the suede wrap steering wheel and the great new technology. I can't wait. Let's take the new M3 CS for a drive. All right, let's fire it up. That is quite the startup rumble, and the idle is very deep. This is what your neighbors get to enjoy every morning. That is unless you close up the baffles in the exhaust. And it's much, much more modest. Hello, cabin crew. Thank you for joining me for this drive in the 24 BMW M3 CS. I now need to divulge all of our drive configurations. There are so very many of them. We'll start with the M mode stuff. So you've got 3 different M modes, road, sport, and track, and these mostly pertain to the amount of safety intervention, and in the case of track, it turns it off completely. We also have the setup screen, and here are all your different options for engine, chassis, steering, braking, your all-wheel drive system, and when you've got it in 2-wheel drive and rear drive, then you can play with the traction control, whether you want it completely off or to step in just a little bit for you to maintain a slide. So we're going to start with everything in the left side of the screen, efficient or comfort, and the all-wheel drive system in full all-wheel drive. Four-wheel drive sport, by the way, is just a rear focus to the all-wheel drive system, rear bias. And then we've got the baffles and the exhaust, as I mentioned, and your traction control system. We're going to have it in full traction on, traction off, and stability on, or both traction and stability off. We'll leave it all on for right now. And throw it into reverse, over and up. That brings up a high-resolution backup camera system with trajectory lines and just parking sensors. You don't get a surround view, which I think should be standard on this car, not just for the price point, but also for the fact that you've got hanging bits of carbon fiber out in your front splitter, and you would not want to scrape that. From experience, pulling into a tight garage space, it's so nice to have the camera angles right by your wheels to tell you when you're a little too close. Over into drive. And we'll start off with a turning radius test. Wheel is fully cranked. And the all-wheel drive system does push out the front tires just a little bit, so the turning circle isn't amazing. Turn signal sound. It's a gentle reminder of the direction in which you are going. And the world-famous horn test is chipper and light. It's not an invasive horn. Powertrain in the M3 CS is the same as the regular M3. It is a twin-turbocharged 3-liter inline 6-cylinder, but the boost pressure has been built up. So we're now looking at 30.5 PSI, and that raises the output 40 horses over the M3 competition. That means 543 horsepower and the same 479 pound-feet of torque. That's routed through an 8-speed automatic gearbox. It is a torque converter automatic, not a dual clutch, and so you don't have the clunkiness of a dual clutch in the last couple feet of your slowing, moving from second to first gear, or when you're just starting out first to second. it's very, very smooth. The power then makes its way to the road through an all-wheel drive system. It's a variable all-wheel drive system, so it can just be your typical forward-driven wheels, it can be a rear bias system, or you can lock out the front axle and have it just be rear drive for shenanigans. So I've got the M2 button programmed with traction and stability off and rear-wheel drive locked in. From here, it's just a flick of the wrist and a smile on the face. For this CS to go from that level of hoonery to this level of modesty around town is just dazzling to me. Well, maybe modesty isn't the right word. I am driving a bright green gold-wheeled car. But you get the idea, because from inside this cabin, with the ride compliance of these adaptive dampers and steel springs, even over undulating surfaces like this with big cracks in them, it's just so pleasant. Yeah, the chassis is a little busier than your average sports sedan. When you think about the spectrum of performance for this car, it's so excusable. And the seats, yeah, they're pretty aggressive to get in and out of, but when you're inside them, they're very comfortable. And your visibility is solid. This is pretty good. Now, as the speeds pick up, again, staying in the comfort and efficient settings, keeping the exhaust baffles closed up, listening for the NVH level, it's really very quiet. I mean, yeah, we have a little bit of wind noise, a little bit of tire noise, but it's still very thoroughbred luxury here, very well insulated cabin. And I do think the fact that these are the PS4S tires, not the Cup 2s, which I personally would choose because they're free from the factory and very expensive if you're buying it aftermarket, they are harder compound, those Cup 2s, and so they're not going to be as compliant riding, and they will be louder. These PS4S are just more agreeable day in and day out. This ease of use is not what I anticipated from this car. I expected it to be rougher than the M3 Competition, which already was kind of a tighter, go-fast car. But what I do expect is for the CS to be very, very good to drive in the right environment. So let's go find that out. Let's start by dialing up the aggression of our drive settings. So we'll move the engine into Sport Plus, chassis to Sport Plus, steering, Sport, braking, Sport. We gotta hit the DSC button to turn traction control and stability control completely off. That will unlock four-wheel drive Sport, and with it, launch control. I'm also gonna move the M mode into Sport to change up our gauge cluster and prepare us for that real-world 0 to 60 test. And then our last step is to move the gear selector into manual mode. Now with my race box set up here to record, holding my foot on the brake, pinning the throttle, preparing launch control, it's ready. 2.94 seconds to 60. I have no further questions, Your Honor. That is ridiculous. It's a full 0.3 of a second quicker than BMW's own estimate, and that's on the PS4S tires. If you had heat in some Cup 2s, I could fully believe the 2.7 seconds that Car and Driver got this car to 60. It is obscenely quick out of the hole. Wow. Tip of the iceberg though, folks, because now we're just gonna blast it with some speed going to see about the mid-range. Let me put it back into auto mode just to test how quickly it'll downshift in Sport Plus. Dropped 5 gears right away. Oh boy. Oh boy. This is fast. This is very fast. It now knows, so it's just keeping me in fourth. Dropped it down to third, and it's so fast! The CS is so stinking quick. I don't believe it, and it feels very stable at these speeds. Built for German Autobahns, clearly. I don't have that, I just have a lead foot. And the M3 CS is happy to comply. Oh, even like the engine note. I know some of it's piped in, right? But I'm okay with it because it sounds good. Now I am going to go into manual mode again. Pull on these big paddles with the carbon fiber on the faces. That's fun. Quick shifts. Ooh, nice note as well. Shift indicator light is fun. Makes me feel race car. You would swear this is dual clutch. Just how quick these shifts are. Stupendous. Of course, it lets you take it all the way out to red light. Oh my goodness. It just claws forward. And with the steering and suspension in their more hardcore modes, and with the additional front strut bracing that we get in the CS, this car feels so energized, in control of its body, flat through the corners, eager to turn in. Even though we don't have the carbon ceramics, the brakes do a great job scrubbing speed. The resistance buildup in the corners, also great communication through the rack. I love this big squishy wheel as well. This is fun to operate. Gosh, and it's quick out of the hole. On a straight. Put so much power down. Loads of front end grip. Give you this confidence to push the car harder. You just know the grip's not going to run out. And the PS4's tires are doing a great job here, I should say. What a monster corner carver. Goodbye. I don't know what that was. Oh, that was the key fob. Key slot not made for G-force. With the all-wheel drive system, with that limited slip differential at the back, it can just shoot itself out of a curve, exit the curve so fast. Unreal. This is not a featherweight vehicle, but it feels it because of its agility. And when I say the steering is quick, I mean it's frightfully so, almost to the point of being twitchy. But just stop short of that. So it's fun, but tractable. I think I'm making my way down this road and up it quicker than just about anything with four doors I've ever done, and that frankly includes my CT5 Blackwing and the BMW M5. It's the approachability and controllability of this car that is allowing me to do this. I can't imagine this thing on a racetrack, because on a good canyon road like this, it's just frankly unstoppable. What an animal! An absolute animal. And the gearbox is making all the right moves right now in auto mode. But on the last run up the hill, we will try it out in manual mode. This feels sharper than the M3 Competition, and that is what I wanted to see. So here we go, manual mode for the final ascension of this hill. And final demonstration of full tilt fury in the M3 CS. Unreal. What will BMW come up with next? What will their M division devise to exceed this? I can't imagine it. If there's something quicker with 4 doors through a road like this, I need to meet it urgently, because this is rewriting my rule book for this segment. In the same way I was struggling to communicate the excitement of launching this car to 60, I'm having real difficulty relaying the brilliance of this car's dynamics. There's just so many levers you can pull: the steering, the gearbox, the throttle input, and all of them make a small but significant change to the performance. It's so unlike all these new cars that have all this power and they're so fluid, but it almost feels like there's a barrier between you and the vehicle, like it's just doing what it's going to do and you're along for the ride. This makes you feel central to the performance, and that makes it so freaking fun. Which leads me into my miles per hour word of the day, which for the 24 BMW M3 CS is kinetic, meaning active or dynamic. This car feels alive. Even though it's not electric, it'll still put more than a few volts through your veins. Boy, that sounded corny saying it out loud, but it's true. Before we talk about pricing and competition, let's review the top speed and fuel economy. Top speed for the M3 CS with the optional driver's package. Why is it optional on a car that costs just under $120,000 and is the range-topping M3? I'm not sure. 188 miles per hour with that package. The fuel economy is 15 mpg in the city, 22 on the highway, and 18 combined. As I just said, the starting price is a hair under $120K, which is $34,000 more than an M3 Competition X-Drive. This one is tested with the Kermit the Frog green, or sorry, its signal green paint job is 124,000 buckaroos. Now, for that amount of money, you've got a lot of other great options, like the Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio, which starts at $82,000, makes 505 horsepower, gets to 60 in 3.8 seconds, has top speed of 191 miles per hour, and fuel economy of 20 combined. Then there's the Audi RS5 Sportback Competition with a price of just under $94,000. It makes 444 horsepower, gets to 60 in 3.5 seconds, has a top speed of 180 miles per hour, and fuel economy of 21 combined. Or there's the new Mercedes-AMG C63S vehicle I have not yet driven. It starts at $95,000, makes 671 horsepower, gets to 60 in 3.1 seconds, has a top speed of 174 miles per hour, and fuel economy of 21 combined mpg. So yes, the M3 CS costs significantly more than any of the vehicles I just mentioned, all of which are great driver's car. I have not driven the C63, as I said, but I have driven the new C43, so I can kind of estimate what the new C63 would be as a driver's car. Really solid, but not at this level. Neither is the Giulia Quadrifoglio. Also amazing, probably the best steering in the class with the most satisfying to operate paddle shifters. The Audi It's very good. It's not worth the price point for me, though. The CS is just a different class above. It is, at this point in time, and this is very difficult for me to say out loud, it is, because I haven't done a direct seat-to-seat comparison, tied with my Cadillac CT5e Blackwing as the best sedan I've ever driven. I hope you understand the gravity of that statement. For me, having spent my own money on a Blackwing and loving every minute, I'm floored by how good this CS is. It is worth every bit of the price. I do think that the carbon ceramics should be standard for this money, but I mean, that's sort of a separate issue. The base product here is insane. It's unbelievable what BMW has just extracted out of this already amazing M3 Competition xDrive. I love every minute behind the wheel. The look is unique. I wouldn't get it in my Kermit the Frog green paint here. I would get it in probably the Aegean blue metallic of the M5 I drove not too long ago. The interior it makes you feel special. The seats look so cool, and I didn't mention this during the drive in the Canyon roads, but they really do hold you well in place. And the drive just makes you want to find better roads to exploit this car, or at the very least, spend a fair amount of money on track day admission. Which would you guys choose? Would you have the Audi RS5 Sportback Competition? Would you have the Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio? Would you get the new Mercedes-AMG C63S? Or would you spend your extra money on the BMW M3 CS? Let me know in the comments. I hope you guys have enjoyed this POV drive review. If you did, please like, comment, and share it. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell to get notified. And I will see you again next time.